All right, Saagar, what are you looking at?
Well, when Elizabeth Holmes was finally revealed as a fraud by John Carreyrou of the Wall Street Journal, there was a lot of blame to go around. First, her and her partner in crime, Sunny Balwani, for scamming people, but also the due diligence that New York City and DC elite billionaires had in pumping her company full of billions of investment for a genuinely fake product they never bothered to check. But the reckoning that never came was for the media. Holmes' ability to scam elites and scam Walgreens into deal with her genuinely hurt people's lives. It was based in part by the Steve Jobs myth that she created for herself, hand in glove with the mass media. Forbes magazine, Fortune magazine, Inc. magazine, the New York Times magazine, every single one of them had a hagiographic view of Elizabeth Holmes as a visionary entrepreneur. At last, a self-made woman on the billionaires list. They let their excitement at girl boss feminism overlook any real scrutiny of the company itself, and so when Theranos crumbled, they simply moved on. It's in that vein that we gotta continue looking at Sam Bankman-Fried, who appears to have borrowed from the Holmes playbook, but taken it up a notch even further. I wasn't the only one that noticed SBF's similarity treatment by the very same magazines that Holmes once graced the cover of. But SBF is no Elizabeth Holmes. Frankly, he was smarter. Holmes merely just charmed the national press. SBF appears to have done everything he can to buy them off, while also charming them. He not only was treated the same as Holmes was by the national press, but he went further, making sure to fund left-aligned news outlets, including, but not limited to, ProPublica, The Intercept, the newly launched Semaphore, and Vox News. All that funding, of course, backed by his potentially ill-gotten gains. But it also explains the extraordinarily odd incident right now, which really just underscored this. The New York Times got what should have been the scoop of the century. An interview with SBF after his potentially illegal diverting of $10 billion in customer funds came to light, and after his company went completely bankrupt. And yet, the way that it was written was completely insane. The interviewer accepted as fact SBF's explanation for diverting $10 billion of customer funds from the exchange. What really struck everyone, though, was what not included in the article. As Trung Fan points out, the word fraud, crime, illiquid, stolen, hidden, criminal, backdoor did not make one appearance in the story. A story written after he was exposed as, at a minimum, historically incompetent and possibly actively a criminal. The explanation for this press treatment is belied by several obvious factors. Number one is embarrassment. The Times crowned SBF the, quote, crypto emperor. So downplaying how much of a fraud they ended up to be, I guess, is in their reputational interests. But the other one is this too. SBF was a weirdly ideological ally to the national press in a way that Holmes never was. He funded them. He was the second largest Democratic donor this year, beaten only by George Soros. He spent some $37 million during the last election cycle, with the overwhelming majority of it going to Democratic candidates. He donated $500,000 to the DNC. But here's really it's important to really dig down. It wasn't just that SBF was just a Democrat, because he was using his potentially ill-gotten gains to try and influence Washington for a very selfish purpose. What many aren't realizing is that while SBF was the leftist frontman at the top, his top lieutenant, Ryan Salem, was also pumping $19 million to Republican congressional candidates and committees. He was actually the 10th largest donor to the entire GOP. Why were they conducting this multi-pronged assault, you ask? Well, SBF and his proxies were donating millions to the uniparty in Washington and cultivating the press because they were trying to legalize their leveraged trading platform in the US. It's that simple. The exact type of leverage that caused them to go bust in the first place. Their money was propping up not only new media outlets, but several lobbying shops of very high acclaim here in DC. And the lesson to me is just exposing how corrupt this system really is. If you're a billionaire with the right ideology, the right amount of checks cut to the right people, you can make a hell of a lot happen in a very short period of time. You can get the press to cover you even when you've been exposed. You can come inches away from actually getting what you want. Remember this. FTX only went bust because of a leaked document and the liquidity crunch. If that document never came out, we would still be chugging along. He would likely have prevailed in adopting a regulatory framework, which would have only made him 10 times richer in the US, and it would set him up to have wealth on par with Jeff Bezos in like 5 years. If it was this easy for SBF, imagine what the real titans of industry are doing behind the scenes. Imagine how many of them are just as full of it as he is. I mean, That was an unbelievable expose to me. A lot of people.
Hey guys, ready or not, 2024 is fully upon us now, and Saagar and I have been brainstorming ways that we can really up our game for this critical election.
Yeah, we rely on our premium subs to expand our coverage, to add staff, to upgrade the studio. We just want to give you the best independent coverage of this election, which is possible. So if you can help us out, become a premium subscriber today, breakingpoints.com, or the link is down here in the description video. It really means the world to us, and if you like what we're all about, this is the best possible way to keep us 100% independent, working only for you.